next piece of information that is in the dashboard, which is course success. So I'm going to go ahead and click on course success equity. And this looks very similar to the enrollment page. So in this first table, you have the course success broken down in the same way that we had it broken down for enrollment. Here, the gap is a little bit different. It's the success for a particular group. So in this case, 74% minus the overall success rate for your courses. So here we have 74 minus 77.5 is a gap of negative 3.5 for African American students in my courses during the selected time period that I have. And that's juxtaposed with the college-wide gap here on the right-hand side. And the reason this is something that we've actually included in those static reports, but this improves upon the static reports in that now if you pick a term or a course, these rates will readjust to only the terms where you actually taught that particular course. So unlike the static report where I just calculated the average equity gap across 3 years, now it adjusts depending on when you taught the course so that you have a little bit of a better comparison. The other thing too about the equity gaps for the college-wide comparison is that in the original static reports, they're going to be slightly different for like a 3-year period because I was excluding, it was like the reading and writing center labs, because if you were a coordinator for one of those reading and writing center labs, you got a very long list of courses in that report, which was quite overwhelming. So it's very slightly different. We're talking like 1/10 of a point different. So one thing I want to note here is, I do get the question quite a bit, why is there this college-wide comparison? One is to sort of reflect and see, kind of give you a benchmark for maybe where you're doing a little bit better than the college or not as well as the college. That's one of the obvious reasons. It's an imperfect comparison. But the other aspect too is, remember when I mentioned the trends over time as a way of thinking about whether or not something is like persistent or important to note. This is another way of doing that. If you have a small sample size in your course and you find that, for example, Latinx students are below your overall course success rate, they have a gap, and you also see that there is that gap college-wide, then chances are that particular student group is probably experiencing barriers to their success, right? So you have that sort of converging piece of information to figure out, is this a data point that should be notable? Or is this something that maybe I should just keep an eye on for a little while to see if it's more persistent? And then, the third reason really why the college-wide comparison is in there too is because it's also kind of a reflection of your part in the college-wide rates, right? So the courses that I select here are actually involved in this college-wide course success rate. So it highlights the link between, the individual work in the course, the very hard work that the faculty at CRC do, and the college-wide success rates. And so the interface for this particular course success dashboard is very similar to what it was for the enrollment. You can select terms if you want to. You can select gender, and you can pick the courses that you've taught over the 6-year or 5-year period that I have in the dashboard.